Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going swimmingly. How are you?
Going great. How was your night out?
Oh, it was fine. I just had to get just getting some dinner.
Cool, cool. So yeah, I figured since you'd seem to talk a lot about woke culture and representation in media, I figured we could have a conversation about that, as well as like the Keffals stuff, since we've both been kind of dealing with the same person.
Sure.
Yeah. So I guess like one thing I've noticed with a lot of your videos is that you seem to have an issue um, with certain like shows and movies changing up like the changing up main characters or side characters
Yeah,
and
sure.
having different ethnicities or different genders in them. Maybe you could explain that a little bit more.
I mean, sure. Do you want to save it, or are you already live?
Oh, I'm already live. I'm sorry. I
Oh,
should have
okay,
I should
okay.
have
I
let you
was
know.
like,
Yeah.
okay, sure. We can talk about like gender race swapping.
Okay.
Um, I think if you, I mean, I don't suspect you watch my videos at length, but there's a difference between an exciting title and what I actually say in the videos. So in the videos I talk about like that it's lazy in general. That I think for when you're looking at, let's say, Marvel, for example, which has a super diverse um like a super diverse catalog of characters that exist right now.
Hmm.
But I feel like in media it's easier to just retcon a character or race swap or gender swap them, which is lazy. And, I don't think that it does the character any real favors other than like some individual character or some employee gets to say, oh, well, I checked a box. Like, a perfect example would be like Miss Marvel,
Hmm.
Kamala Khan.
Hmm.
This is a character that is like canonically Middle Eastern Muslim, or you have like America Chavez.
Hmm.
Like, there's nothing inherently wrong with these characters at all whatsoever. In fact, it's like, oh, here's a character that you tell me that diversity and inclusion is important to you. Cool. But also then just use the characters you have. I think that's where my position is.
Hmm. Are there for Marvel, are there characters that are not already like super side character? Because most of these diverse characters I've seen in the past generally are like side characters or characters that don't
Hmm.
really have a whole lot of focus on them. So even if they are diverse, they're generally people who are like on the sides in the comics, right?
That's fair. Yeah.
So yeah, so I would just say, I guess what they're doing with things like Miss Marvel, or switching the race or the gender of a main character. Um, if it- if like a specific storyline already has a lot of attention on it, it seems like it
Hmm.
would make more sense for them to continue with that specific brand and switch things up with the main character, especially if the side characters that they have available are quite literally side characters, and there isn't a whole lot of attention already on those, and building the audience for a an existing side character would be harder, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're making the case for as much representation as quick as possible. Like that's how I think they view it too, right? Like we don't have time to build up Miss Marvel or America Chavez to
Mhm.
the level that Iron Man is,
Mhm.
or the Incredible Hulk or whatever. Now those aren't great examples because they didn't race swap them or gender swap them.
Mhm.
This is more common, like in comic books, for example. Like they'll make a character like they'll break canon and say, "Oh, this character's gay now,"
Mhm.
because inclusion is important to us.
Mhm.
But I feel like it does a huge disservice because not only it confuses people because they're like, wait a minute, they did this with Iceman, for example. I think
Mhm.
of the latest run of comic books,
Mhm.
and it's just it it comes across as lazy and hacky, and I don't think it actually helps kind of this acceptance that they hope they'll get from it. Now, maybe the data suggests differently. It's just, I think what they're doing with a more diverse cast, for example, in the upcoming Captain Marvel movie, I don't know, it's called The Marvels, I think.
Mhm.
You have like Monica Rambeau, who is a black female, and then you have America Chavez, who's in there too. I think she's from Mexico. I think, pretty sure. And so like starring alongside a huge character that everyone already knows. Like, look what Captain Marvel, how big Captain Marvel got from like literally, like they just made a movie with her and it made $1 billion. And now she's just got her own franchise and she's like a kingmaker or a queenmaker or whatever now. I think that's an easier way to achieve it. You have to just put the time in because the characters will last longer then. Maybe a better example is when writers, and this is only my perception of it, I do believe that there are writers out there that are like, I'm really doing a good thing here. I don't actually think that every writer who's like really focused on diversity and inclusion is some sort of evil goblin monster. But I do think that when you have shows that think they seem to rely too much on it, maybe Batwoman would be an example. They're like, hey, it feels like the marketing's like, hey, watch this. It's a woman who's gay. Watch our show. And then writing's like terrible. And it just, it just tanks and it's awful. Like, I don't think that does, gay females any, like any credit to give them crappy writing then too. So I think that the two have to go hand in hand. And I'm keen to see them get a fair shake as opposed to just be bent and then say, oh, well, Thor is gay now, deal with it. I don't know. I don't think that goes over as well. But again, they have the data. I don't.
Yeah, sure. I guess what I would say is in response to that is I thought it was true that generally in these hero franchises, it's often that like the character, the person who takes on the hero's persona can often change, right? And so
yeah, it does happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it makes sense to me that if the person who is playing Wonder Woman, for example, or the person who's taking on the role of Wonder Woman is now switched out with somebody else, one person has retired, and now somebody else takes on the role of Wonder Woman, it makes sense that you would be able to change some of the characteristics of the person based on who is taking the role of Wonder Woman. I can agree with you that like the writing for it could be better when they switch people out like that, or when they switch things up. Even with like a Hawkeye, I think there's a male Hawkeye and there's a female Hawkeye. So
they like pass the torch a little bit.
Yeah,
that's super common, and it's also super lazy. Like here's a perfect example. Like, I think we see where we're both coming from, but I'll give you an example of where I like think where I feel like my complaint is never that, oh my god, female Hulk. It's like, oh well, that was freaking lazy. Like, we put all this this canon and writing around Hulk. Now they launch this new show. And She-Hulk exists canonically. So I'm saying back when they did it in the books, it was lazy and cringe. Like, let's make a new strong female superhero. Cool. Let's just give her all the exact same abilities of an existing one and call her She, whatever it is. When you're talking about like Captain Marvel, I'm sorry, America, like Sam Wilson or Anthony Mackie taking over, I think they did that pretty good. Like, they passed the torch. I think there's a difference between, hey, Captain America, quote unquote, is now played by Anthony Mackie, and there's canon and movie that like passes the torch, versus saying like Captain America is a black man. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
Like, it's not. It's So like Sam Wilson is Captain America, but he's also Sam Wilson. They did this with Spider-Man, like I think last Pride Month or something like that, where there was like, they use the multiverse to say there's like a billion different Spider-Man, and this particular Spider-Man's trans. That's fine. Like, I mean, I still think it's lazy, but like, and virtue signally, but it makes more sense than to say like Spider-Man TM is this thing. And it's more like, I don't get personally offended by it, even though people think I do. It's just, I want the best for these characters. And I think that when you have writers that think, oh, this cast is really diverse, and then they forget about writing good characters. We see many examples of this, and it just it sucks because a lot of these characters, there's a lot of awesome female characters that they've really done nothing with over the years. Rogue, Storm, even Storm had like, played by Halle Berry probably before you were just a little baby, but
No.
like
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. So.
Yeah, it was a weird time where like, yeah, all these super actors were playing on. Like there's a lot of really strong female characters in the Marvel universe. My first inclination is to give them a chance to grow organically as opposed to kind of ham-fist it. But maybe your way works. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I guess I can see what you're saying. I guess the issue where I see it is like if the writing was lazy from the comic book already.
That could be. Yeah.
I don't know how they would translate that into the movie, right?
Yeah, it's hard to fix that. Yeah,
there are a lot of times when I've looked up like the lore of like a comic book character, and and I'm just like, what the fuck is this, right? Like, why is there like what is the multiverse? Why are there like 10 different Wonder Womans? Like, what's going on here? But I do
you
think
get pretty deep. Yeah,
I do think that there are like some good examples. Just those characters don't really get a lot of spotlight on them. Like Hawkeye is one that I thought they really built the like mentorship kind of relationship between the male Hawkeye and then the new Hawkeye who's a female. They kind of really built that really well, in my opinion, at least. I thought
the show was pretty good.
I didn't see the show actually. I only read the comic. Yeah. So
it was like a buddy kind of thing with, you're talking about Kate Bishop, who kind of takes over now. Yeah. And those things are like less concerning because like Kate Bishop is a real character, and like they actually took the time in Disney Plus, whether people liked it or not, to at least pass the torch to her, as opposed to like and this is more common in comic books than in film. Like it's super rare in, like you'll see it in reboots of like old TV shows. It's like the Wonder Years. Remember the Wonder Years? How great it was? Well, how about if we give you the Wonder Years, but the family's black now? Like I just like what is that? Like the Hollywood's out of ideas, and they think that the fact that the family's now a different skin color means it's like a new and an interesting show. And these shows don't last.
Well,
like, historically, they don't last very long.
I mean,
although I don't know if that show's still on or not.
Maybe it's just that they find the best actor in some of these cases, and the best actor for the role could be a person of color, right? Like
it could be.
They were talking about maybe I think it was a few years ago casting Idris Elba as James Bond, which I think would be like a really interesting choice. But I think a lot of people were saying like, I don't think you can cast him as James Bond because James Bond is like typically white. But if the best,
he's canonically a white guy, so you're going to run into like the hardcore Bond fans. I don't have that like affinity for Bond, but even like the writer came out like, no, James Bond, and I think Idris Elba is an awesome actor.
Yeah.
And I think he'd probably do just fine as Bond. You know, he's kind of got that suave. He's also kind of kick ass.
Yeah.
But right. So like there's kind of a nitpicky example where like, I just, like you're saying, you're providing some benefit of the doubt. Like, hey, maybe they just thought, hey, this is like the right person, and a lot of it is exacerbated by the media. Right. So like, maybe let's say that the Wonder Years reboot, the best family that they could have chosen was black. Maybe that's true. But then there's like a zillion articles like, wow, it's the first black family ever on TV and stuff like that, where it's like, there's a meme in like my world where it's like, every time a strong female character exists, it's like the first time ever. This is like super true in video games from reporting.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh my God, the super strong female character in The Last of Us is so groundbreaking. And it's like, oh yeah, I guess Lara Croft or Metroid or any of these other female, previous female characters, they never exist. So there's like that meme of it.
Yeah.
Where I think there probably is some meritocracy to some casting decisions, but I also believe that there absolutely is box checking that happens. And and I think you hamstring yourself then if that's what you rely on for people to tune into your show. And maybe they really just think it's going to be awesome. I suppose some people do.
I
They
mean,
must think that.
I would say that in general, I agree with you that like diversity for diversity's sake is kind of cringe, and we should really be fleshing out characters, especially in media, um, where you have the potential to be uh, making somebody who's typically grown up not feeling like the norm in American
Hmm.
society feel normal. I think that it can. I think that it is actually extra important that the storylines are really well fleshed out. But I like as a whole, I'm not against like diversity and representation in media, even if the representation is incorrect. So one argument I always run into with like lefties is that they hate the representation in media because it's incorrect, right? So like if you look at
Oh,
like
right. Yes.
Jasmine,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, from Aladdin, right? But the point of Jasmine in Aladdin wasn't to be accurate. It's supposed to be as generically like very generic, like somewhat maybe Middle Eastern, could be South Asian, but it's as generic
Right.
as
Olive
possible.
skin. Yeah.
Yeah, and it could and that's and in that way it could speak to the most amount of people. So anybody from those groups could like look at that, and while they know this is a fictional universe and it's not real, they could still relate to it even though it's not specific to them. So I do think that representation in some media is really good, and it's been shown to affect the self-esteem of like growing kids and things like that.
Mm. I think there's some value in having like superhero, right? Like there's I for if I can make a concession, and this is something I've said publicly, maybe I've gotten softer in my old age, but like I 100% get that. For example, when you look at Black Panther, right?
Mhm.
This is like a super mega huge budget movie with a black superhero that kids can watch. Now, Blade was awesome. Blade was like, but Blade wasn't for kids. I was like, I'm pretty sure it was rated R, and it was, even if it wasn't, it was like super not family friendly. So like, I 100% respect having diversity in film, just as long as it's organic. Like for like the Jasmine example, I totally agree with you. There's obviously still like a bean counter behind whatever person may be making ideological or not decisions, where they're like, well, no, that's like the whole meme of like, when you look and buy a picture frame, it's always like like a white woman, a black man, and two Asian, you know what I mean? Like they're like super diverse in terms of who's on the picture frame, because they want to make sure that somebody buys it. So there's something to that too. I just feel like there's also the other extreme, which is, like making Queen Elizabeth played by a black woman. And I'm like, well, this is like a real actual, I think it was Queen Elizabeth, on the BBC this year. And I was like, well, what the hell is that? Like, why do you even do that? There's other, it wasn't like the multiverse, like it was like some sort of drama show on the BBC. I can't think of the name of it. I think it was Queen Elizabeth, but there's like stuff like that. And I'm like, what the heck? So now the BBC is obviously, I would say, even more left leaning than like American media. I don't know where you're located, but the BBC is you're in the, are you in the States?
Yeah, I'm in the States. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the same. BBC is pretty lefty.
Yeah.
So I don't know why the heck, what was the, or example, like someone says in chat, like Black Vikings on the show Vikings. Like I get, you're like, well, I want to represent people who look, I mean, we can bend over backwards and say, oh, there was this once an Indian Viking or something like that. You could probably find the examples, but I just don't know, because it's so immersion breaking too. It would be like, oh, we need to put, oh God, this is going to be a bad example. Let me think of a better example. Like, oh, we're doing a show about the Negro Leagues, and then there's like white guys in there for representation. It would make no sense, or Asian people, or whatever the case may be.
Well, yeah,
and
typically,
so it's like,
yeah, they used to, for some of these stories in Hollywood, they used to actually have the issue where they would cast people who were white into characters that were typically of color, and then there would be an issue of
I disagree with that too. You know, just so I'm being
Yeah.
consistent.
Mhm.
You know, like, and that is a thing that happened, you know, before my time, but
Mhm.
certainly that's not okay either. It would make no sense. There's also a time in Hollywood where they did like blackface, you know. So I mean, there
Yeah.
was the minstrel shows, or that wasn't Hollywood, but
Mhm.
people are racist and
Mhm.
it's dumb.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's interesting. I think that there's a trade-off where you can have kind of like some ideologically driven decisions.
Mhm.
For example, I think there's a lot of TV, like there's a clear inclusion of almost like every major family on TV has some like LGBTQ representation nowadays on most modern shows.
Mhm.
Um, and like that's not inorganic. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like most people know somebody who's gay. You know, I live in a pretty small town, and I know several. I don't feel like I have gay friends, but I mean, like I live in a small town. It's not like that crazy for me to, you know, for people to get on with. I just
Yeah.
don't like the, you know, hey, Iceman, we need LGBTQ representation. So Iceman's gay now. Why? Because reasons. So I think there's just a mix between the
Yeah.
two. Ghost in the Shell is a good example. Somebody mentioned in chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was played by a white, was it Scarlett Johansson? I think played that, a white woman, and the role is traditionally non-white. Stuff
So
like that. That's actually new.
what do you think of like diversity in like advertisements and things like that? Like when like corporations start including like gay couples in advertisements or mixed families in advertisements.
Well, I mean, I assume that's all market driven.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I assume that they know that that's what's best for their customers. I do think so. Like let's take Pride Month out of it. Just say
Mhm.
like in general, because Pride Month is a whole nother level of like, I think you have like this gay baiting stuff that goes on with corporations. That's like even many in the LGBTQ community can see through nowadays.
Mhm.
Well, they probably always could, but I mean, like, you know what I mean? It's inauthentic sometimes. It's like the meme, like, oh, BMW USA changes their Twitter icon to a rainbow, but not BMW Middle East. You know,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
it's that kind of empty virtue signaling stuff that you see during Pride Month. But you know, otherwise, I assume that they're going off market data. If I were to sample, I don't see many you know, commercials these days, but it seems like there is a very obvious and concerted effort to be extraordinarily diverse, like
Mhm.
in every family. And I don't see that as an inherently bad thing. It must be your market data. I don't know. Like if you were selling something that is traditionally, I don't know, white guys buy, I
Mhm.
don't know, what is a traditional white guy thing? Um, or I'm trying not to make like, I'm trying not to use other races as examples because it may come off you know, weird. I don't mean it that way. I just,
Mhm.
it's like if you have a type of person that demographically buys your product,
Mhm.
you know, there are certain skincare products, for example, that are like in the African American community that you
Yeah.
would associate with. I'll put it that way. Or darker skin people have different needs,
Mhm.
like for sunscreen or lotions or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Like it makes sense that you wouldn't have 4 white guys in that commercial. You know, just you wouldn't. So I assume that they're using some sort of market data. They can't just be throwing away all their money for virtue signaling. This can't be. I mean,
Yeah.
that's my, you know, or cocoa butter. That would have been. I didn't want to come across saying weird or whatever, but like, yeah, I mean, there are clearly products that, I don't
Yeah.
know, sunscreen. Well, everyone gets sunburned. I don't know, but there are products that are, you know, race specific that you would assume that the,
Mhm.
you know, razors, everyone, all, you know, a lot of people of all colors buy razors, men and women. So, you know, of course you're going to have diverse commercials. I don't think that many companies are quite as, is altruistic the right word? I think that they are looking at market data
Mhm.
and saying this is what sells. It has to be. They're not going to lose money on purpose.
Yeah. I would say just as a response to the thing about like BMW's, like Saudi Arabia BMW,
Mhm.
not having the rainbow flag, I would still say because we live in kind of like an online world now, a very interconnected world. I still think that companies, even if they're doing it for more like greedy reasons, changing their logos to rainbows and things like that. Oftentimes, I think that like woke capitalism can actually push forward progress, at least like social progress. Like it used to be that seeing like a mixed family wasn't super common, and nowadays I think it is pretty common to see.
Sure.
Yeah,
You mean on TV or like the
yeah,
IRL
yeah,
or
or
yeah,
even
okay.
both, really. Yeah, and even the polling data used to be so different. So I do think that there are ways in which like we can look at corporations and say like, oh, they're doing this to make money, but even if they are doing it to make money in some aspect, generally it does like encourage diversity. It encourages the normalization of seeing different people within media, even seeing people within advertisements. Like if you grow up in a world where majority of like the advertisements are people who don't look like you, and people who or people who don't have the same internal struggle as you, like if you're LGBT or something like that.
Yeah.
So it can definitely, for that person growing up, can affect their self-esteem, and there are tons of studies on children growing up of like Black girls growing up um who have it affect their self-esteem. And so having
That's a
things,
whole like straightening the hair stuff, the white, what's the word for it? I'm not going to guess at it, but there's something
there's a
there where like
really, yeah, there's
there's something that Black
go ahead.
girls don't like. They don't wear their natural hair because
Mhm, mhm.
everything they see on TV or whatever the norms are straight hair.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying, and I
yeah.
can't argue against it. If I understand your point is, look, yeah, maybe cringy and all about money, but it still has some sort of uh some sort of benefit.
Mhm.
And maybe that's true. I'm just more cynical about it, where I don't think that Microsoft Corporation cares about gay people. And I don't think gay people are like, I'm going to buy a Microsoft Office because they changed their stuff to a rainbow flag.
No, but
It's
maybe
the
they will submit a job application there if they're like a software
maybe,
engineer, right?
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I guess I don't, I've never, like you mentioned the commercials thing. Like it's very rare I see people in commercials that look like me nowadays. Like there's
Uh-huh.
not a lot of overweight bearded guys in commercials.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't necessarily I guess I tune out commercials nowadays. I think most people kind of do, but I don't really notice that. And some people might say, well, it's because you've seen your whole life like that. Maybe, but it doesn't really affect. I guess I'm I'm surprised that it actually works. I'm surprised that somebody who's in like the LGBTQ community is like, oh, cool. Skittles has all white Skittles now. I'm gonna buy some Skittles. Like, I just don't think people are that easily manipulated. I don't know. I
I
guess
don't think
I'm
it's
not
like
in
an
that community.
overnight thing. Yeah, I don't think it's so. I don't think it's overnight thing. Like, let's say you're like a person of color and you see like somebody who looks a little bit like you in a commercial. I don't think it's an overnight thing that all of a sudden you feel like you're normal now, right? But I do think that it's like slow pushes towards progress. Maybe you feel a little bit more normalized. You look at this commercial, you're like, oh wow, that's interesting, that's surprising, didn't expect that. And then you keep going about your
And then you
day.
buy their stuff though, right? Because that's what
Well,
commercials are there to do.
not
They're there to sell
necessarily.
you something. I
Not
mean, unless they're like
necessarily, but
PSAs.
no, I mean, I don't think necessarily. Like there's that old Cheerios commercial that got so much heat because it was like a mixed family.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it
That was
made
like
no
a couple of
sense to
years ago,
me.
or was
Yeah.
it? It was like not that long ago, right? It was like an Asian guy and a. I didn't understand that either.
I think it was like a,
I,
a white mom and a black dad, and everybody got really, really mad. And the kid was really
yeah.
cute in it, and it was like a mixed kid, and everybody got super mad about it, and it made no
Oh,
sense to me.
2013. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at. I don't think I was. I'm not sure if I was like. Yeah, that was 2013. Um, yeah, and like, you know, I'm not gonna pretend that like there aren't people who overreact to stuff, and I'm not gonna pretend that there aren't like legitimate racists out there. Of course there are.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, stuff like that, like the mere existence of a black person in your commercial is not something to get worked up about. You know, I guess had I covered it at the time, I'd have something to call back on, but I'm sure I didn't. That was maybe before I was even doing this kind of stuff on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I look at it from a pure marketing perspective, and I can't know if I'm right or wrong, but it's just weird that it's weird that a company would piss away money on advertising without the ultimate goal of selling something. But I mean, when you have billions, like you're Microsoft or Activision or something, you probably have some budget that's just like community outreach or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Might just be like also yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason why they're doing it, but I don't think that just because that there's a monetary reason behind it doesn't mean that there aren't like actual positive effects that come out of it. Like again, you know, the self-esteem of somebody might be a little bit less damaged when they get into adulthood or something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's highly unlikely that it would do mental or emotional damage simply by existing. So it's pretty low risk. You know, I don't know. I've never really seen any data, but based on the number of companies that like go full blown during Pride Month, I mean, there's at least some. We agree that there's at least some people in there that are just doing it for the money, right? At least some.
Sure. Yeah, I can definitely.
I mean, it's a marketing tactic.
Yeah.
So, but some, I'll agree, that are just truly, you know. I mean, there are quote unquote woke companies. Look at Ben and Jerry's. Like, I 100% believe that they believe the stuff that they say. Like, they came out against like Palestine or either Palestine or Israel. I get mixed up, but like they went against their ownership, the people that own them. It's like I'm assuming they believe that when they came out and said that stuff. So it was. I mean, there certainly are companies out there that have their causes. What's the outdoor store? REI?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're super activist too, and they have been for I think basically ever. So I mean, there are companies out there that I think are honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And again, also, like I kind of use Twitch as an example too. Like majority of the Twitch audience is like white male, right? In gamer.
I would assume.
Yeah, and so I'm sure majority of the people that audience relates to is like white male, which makes sense as to why like a lot of the bigger creators are white and male. But maybe by like helping push some more diversity in some of the creators.
I don't know. Most of the creators there's some big female creators too now.
Yeah, but if you look at the top earners on Twitch,
they're women by far.
They're not.
Amaranth
makes money off of other things than just Twitch. If you look at,
$32 million from her OnlyFans. That's impressive.
Yeah,
that's like mind blowing money.
But I again would say that like that's on OnlyFans. If you're looking at like Twitch earners, if you're looking at people who exclusively do stuff on Twitch, who only make money off of Twitch, the top earners, I think the top 20 are like male. The first,
if you
female,
look at I would agree with if you say like out of the top 100, there are some high earning females, but it is majority male. I don't know. I don't watch the ranking. I'm not like a Twitch guy, but I know that like certainly Pokimane earns. Amaranth earns. Valkyrie, she's on YouTube. She earns. So I mean, it's not like there's just one or two females that are super popular. There's a lot.
Yeah, there
are still a lot of men. Yeah, there are a lot of men on there for sure. I mean, there are more popular men, if that makes sense. The top 100 is dominated by men.
I would say that like there's a lower floor for females for sure. Like it's easier as a female to make an audience to begin with, but there's also a lower ceiling. Yeah. So
I'd buy that.
Yeah. And also like I think also we talk about OnlyFans. Like I think a lot of women would like the ability to reach the top 10 and not have to resort to making money on the side off of OnlyFans. Yeah. So
my position. I always, I don't hate the player. I don't like. I feel like there are women who are popular on Twitch because they have a great personality and they've earned it, and then there are also women on there that I believe are super predatory, because they know it's full of thirsty young men and they can make a lot of money on OnlyFans. And I struggle. I mean, I wouldn't ever want it banned, but like it feels a little predatory sometimes. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it when a huge creator does it, but when I see like, when the hot tub meta blew up and I was like, oh my God, these are all cam girls. And I was like, I don't blame them, but it feels a little weird.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't do it myself, but and I personally, I don't have any issue with other people doing it. Just I think it can also make the environment a little bit more toxic for
women.
Yeah.
More than anybody.
Yeah.
For women. Yeah, because then you got people, oh, when are you gonna sell me your nudes? Or you're not gonna sell me nudes, I'll go watch someone else.
Yeah.
Like I don't I've had many of conversations with some top earners on OnlyFans who, like, when I make videos about it, they'll email me and they're always super good sports about it. I know they're just being smart business women. They'll say like, oh, want me to come on a live stream and talk about it? I think it's funny, blah, blah, blah. I don't think the top OnlyFans people are like the predatory ones. It's the ones that are like, oh, I love Tomb Raider too. Oh, here's my link tree. And it's just like them selling porn.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think there are a lot of predatory people, regardless of gender. I think
NFTs and all the other crypto stuff that was getting pushed by all the gamer bros, it's a little different, but just as predatory.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I guess since we've kind of like, I think we've kind of beat the woke culture talk or topic to death. I guess we could talk about Keffals. She said that you were. Did you misgender her? In Twitter?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay, because she was saying that you. Oh wait, no, you did. You said that she had a penis in one of your tweets, didn't you?
It's possible. I don't know. I'd have to.
Well, I have to express my distaste for that. Okay, I do have to express my distaste for that.
Sure.
But,
fair enough.
Yeah. But
I don't think I said that. That would be a streak. That was a definite. That would be a. Oh yeah, it was because yes, that's true. Someone said debate her, you pussy, or something like that, and then I responded that she doesn't have a pussy, something like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Something like that. So I didn't say it to her, but yeah. I mean, it's not something I would say that I would ever really endorse doing. I don't think that, like, it's such a different thing because this person is so.
It's hard. It's really hard.
It's hard
because
to feel bad.
She's very much of a bully, and I 100% agree with you. She's very much.
Do you know how many emails her subs sent to my sponsors? Hundreds.
I can only imagine.
And and they harass them for days. And it's really hard for me to feel bad, but I can probably say that was the only time I've ever done that. Like, I have trans viewers who emailed me about it, and like, I don't think that deliberately misgendering somebody is okay. I think it's a dick move.
Yeah.
I'm not going to apologize to that person because the heinous stuff that they were saying to me and all the other, like just insanity, but like that did get out of hand. And, I deleted those tweets, I'm pretty sure, or if I didn't, I should, but I don't think misgendering somebody is really cool. I think that's a pretty low blow. It's like, it's low hanging fruit, but you got to give me some level of break because this person is pretty relentlessly annoying.
I don't approve of people going after people's sponsors. I think that's like, when she first entered the scene, there were quite a few things that she did that are like unwritten rules that you don't do, right? And going after people's sponsors, getting people deplatformed, these are things that like you just don't do them. It's just a rule that you don't break. And it seemed like, I don't know how she came into so much viewership, but it seems like she didn't learn those rules before coming into the viewership. So I wanted to extend some sort of sympathy to her. But even like the other day, I was talking about it and I overheard her talking to Xanderhall and saying like, I don't give a fuck about sponsors. If they do something bigoted, I don't.
That's easy to say when you don't have any.
Yeah.
You know, like, not to be like a, you know, but it's just the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to not care about sponsors when you don't have any, and you know, I think it's extraordinarily. So let me be very clear. And like the thing is, like, my viewers, and I do have trans viewers, know, you know, how I feel. I truly do mean it when I say, you know, live your life, you know, as long as you're not infringing on anyone else's rights rights or hurting anybody else. You know, obviously, like, nothing weird or illegal, but like, well, illegal, even weird would be okay. I don't have any issue with it whatsoever, and never have. And you know, I think I do think it's particularly pathetic and low to weaponize it. And there are several people who do that, who, you know, do heinous stuff. I'm not even going to name names because they're not the only one that's ever done it. Heinous stuff, and then retreat behind the shield of, well, I'm trans, so, you know, get their sponsors, or, you know, you can't shit talk me because I'm trans, and it works. And it's like, I don't buy that. If you want to get in the ring and talk shit, then you're as game as anyone. You know, and I think her game is to bait people like me into doing things like that, and then playing the victim and farming money off it. Great plan, it works. But, you know, at the end of the day, that type of behavior, I don't think keeps someone on Twitch very long. I think that, in my opinion, they, you know, on these streams where they're essentially harassing people live on stream and sending their viewers to, you know, fill up their mentions. Like, to me, it doesn't matter. But if you're a smaller creator, or, you know, like, that sounds, but you know what I mean? Like, 100 people in my menchies getting upset isn't like, but people have serious mental issues with that sometimes. Like, they get stressed out. Like, that stuff is definitely against Twitch terms of service, brigading people. And she does it live on stream. And then I believe she relies on, well, I'm trans, so, you know, you can't really be pissed off at me. And I think that that's really intellectually dishonest and really predatory and really lame. But I should not have misgendered them anyway, because that just gives them an excuse to put out. I mean, this is somebody who put out a video today and called me like a Nazi and a gateway to a Holocaust denialism with no evidence whatsoever. Uploads that video. Like, this is like, you get sued for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think I have obviously way more to lose. So you know, there's no point in engaging anymore. But it's really, I think, really vile. You know, when they like tick Meta PCs and like, I'm a trans person. Oh, this person's being mean to. It's so pathetic because they know exactly what they're doing. They're weaponizing their own transness, and it's like, to me, when you do that, all bets are off. I'm not going to worry about misgendering you if you're using your transness as a weapon against me. I don't feel like, you know, terms of service would disagree with me, but I'm not going to feel bad about using your own weapon against you. Like, it's. I mean, they know. Come on, they know what they're doing. That's exactly why the tweets are crafted in the way. This is somebody who live on stream fake DMs and spread misinformation, again, against Twitch terms of service, but they get to live by a different set of rules. And I believe that had I done that, I would have been banned almost certainly.
Yeah.
Sorry for the rant.
No, it's fine. So I guess, yeah, I did watch that most recent video that she made, and she called you and Ricky Berwick out for the Stone Toss comics, I believe. And
I don't even know. Like, oh, go on. Sorry, go on.
Sorry,
no,
it's fine. It's fine. So I think the one point that I made on that video is that maybe people who know more of Stone Toss comics, like history, can say they know, like, that this person is an anti-Semitic person.
I don't know him.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
So the average normie is not going to know that stone toss is anti-Semitic, or that stone toss, believes in race realism or anything like that. So
I'm not gonna. I don't
yeah,
know that either. So
yeah,
like, just so I'm clear, like I'm not
yeah,
co-signing what you're saying, but I don't know one way or the other
yeah,
if that's true. Like this person like sent me a DM and they're like, "Oh, I'm doing NFT. Do you want an NFT for your channel?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." I never even promoted it. And that was like 2 years ago. I don't have any connection to this person.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
like that video is just full of heinous, like ridiculous lies. And Ricky is not alt-right, for crying out loud.
I've never
Like,
seen Ricky interacting with those crowds, so I don't think
no,
so either. Yeah.
like, come
Yeah.
on. And like, I make fun of the alt-right. Like,
Mhm.
seriously, I think it's cringe and stupid. They're what is it, ethno state garbage. You're
Yeah.
losers. Okay. I've said this many times before.
Mhm.
And like that video comes out, and I'm like, it's really hard to give a shit about calling you a name. Really, really hard. Because like, and she's saying I called her a pedophile, which I didn't. I never said that word.
I
She
would
keeps saying
say
that
that
over and over again.
there was like an implication of her being a groomer, right? Like with the
Okay, a
whole
groomer, yeah.
with the
I do
Cowboy
think she
Ranch
is a.
stuff. Well, I
Oh
think
yeah. Well,
okay,
okay. Let me.
sorry. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So that clip, right, where she's upset about the Cowboy Ranch stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, I was literally reading the messages, but I didn't have the right monitor up.
Yeah.
So she did make a valid, like, hey, what was he just making this up? I wasn't, but it wasn't on the screen. So fair criticism. Um,
Yeah.
the Catboy Ranch thing, like, and this is something she's admitted to. I mean, multiple times. I mean, I'm
Well,
not
to be
crazy
fair
here.
to her, yeah. So to be fair to her, the Cowboy Ranch rumor was started by somebody who used to be friends with her,
Okay.
and there wasn't like a whole lot of evidence there to really like to substantiate like what they were saying was going on with Catboy Ranch, because a lot of these screenshots were from a server that she apparently was never part of or something like that. And so
Hmm.
I just found the Catboy Ranch things, allegations always kind of dubious anyways. But
Okay.
most recently, that woman who initially put out those false claims came out on Twitter and said that she falsely made those claims because they were in a fight. So I do want to clarify.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't think Keffals is a groomer. And so I do want to clarify that much. But I also don't agree with her slandering like pretty much everybody under the sun. Like she one of her mods keeps face doxing a friend of mine and calling them a groomer.
That's
One
weird.
of her, I believe she has she's called me a neo-Nazi or
Oh, are
neo-Nazi
you?
adjacent. I'm not, but yeah.
You don't sound like a neo-Nazi to me.
No, it's weird because it's like half the people online call me like an SJW, like a screeching SJW, and then the other half call me like a neo-Nazi. So I'm a little bit
Oh,
confused
that's
right now.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit confused about what I'm supposed to be, but we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. Maybe we'll
It's a
merge the two.
process, I imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
yeah,
think if I actually am completely unaware, of like any of your interactions. You know that they're probably like co-streaming this right now, or they will be, but
yeah.
um I'm completely unaware of any issues that you've had with them.
Um,
So I don't know what,
yeah.
I don't know what your uh kind of. I'm
Mhm.
actually just privating that video about the cat bite. It was either Twitter's.
Yeah.
I think it was. I'm gonna private it just
Okay.
for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Uh,
Yeah, I just like to give people, I try to be charitable to people, even if they're not going to do the same for me. Um,
that's really hard to do.
it's really hard, yeah. But she was mad at me. I was on a panel at some point, a political panel, and she was going to join that panel, but she saw I was on it, and she knew I was friends with somebody who she views
Well, she
is
didn't like.
a harasser and a doxer. He's never doxed
Oh,
anybody, but he's made like 2 videos on her, which I wouldn't say is harassment. I think that's just like drama YouTubers. That's what they do. Um,
okay.
and so um and he can be unhinged at times, and I don't agree with people harassing people or doxing people for sure, but he's not, to my knowledge, he's not done any of that. So she had an issue with me with that, and then I think the next day I did an interview with like Richard Spencer or something like that, and she had a
Isn't he a
huge issue.
Democrat?
Well, he's
No,
I
go on.
I
Yeah,
guess,
so you
yeah,
had an
it's
issue that
complicated. Yeah,
you
so
I'm assuming it was something like you
platforming.
platformed someone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, so she had an issue with that, and then she was saying that I platform white supremacists, but I never platform like trans people, which is completely not true. I platform trans people all the time and leftists all the time. Um, and so yeah, it's just been really complicated. I have no idea. I can't keep track of all of the accusations she's thrown my way, but now I'm like a fascist or I'm like Nazi adjacent or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah.
I think that this brand, it seems like maybe this is a brand of content, but
Yeah.
I don't think that it's a wise path. I think that it's extraordinarily short-sighted. Um, this is, I've been around long enough. This is it's very similar to 2016 YouTube,
Yeah.
where the Debate Me Bros ran supreme.
Mhm.
And essentially, it would harass and like badger feminists or leftists
Mhm.
to debate them. And then if they didn't debate them, they'd call them a loser or a pussy or whatever the case is.
Mhm.
Now, this is a thing on the left 8 years later. And it's really weird seeing it like come full circle. To me, I thought it's extraordinarily entitled to demand my time,
Yeah.
or anybody's time for to be is it anybody's time? Like,
I mean,
no, I'm not coming
also
on your live stream.
initially she was the person who would be denying other people to come on their shows and talk with
Oh, of
them.
course,
Yeah.
of
So
course.
now she's
It's
changed it up. Mhm.
there are also prominent leftist streamers who shall remain unnamed, but who are like, now that they're more popular, now I have to think about who I platform. I'm a kingmaker now. And
Mhm.
it's like, you were fine getting platformed for people like Destiny for years and years, but,
Mhm.
it's this weird thing. But to me, I don't have any problem talking with people, who are like, respectful,
Mhm.
who don't call me a neo-Nazi,
Mhm.
um, or, I'm sorry, I'm a gateway to Holocaust denial,
Mhm.
which is ridiculous. One of my all-time favorite videos is Miles Power debunking a Holocaust denialist. Um, but it's weird to demand someone's time. And to me, it's like there's just no quarter with that. Like when you're gonna like, it's weird for me to be like, oh, she's harassing me, but like literally, my mentions have been full for weeks of
Mhm.
like this person like getting a live on stream, whipping up their followers into a frenzy, and having them like brigade my Twitter feed, uh, which is not a big deal because I just put the phone down and I move on with my life. But like, it's just it's clearly it's against it's.
It's
I am.
brigading.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
100% certain that they will, if they continue this behavior, they will be banned from Twitch.
Yeah.
I'm 100% certain of it. When you go on stream and you tell, or you're insinuating, telling people to go to their Twitter feed and do this, like obviously I can tell when it happens. It's like 5,000 mentions come in from a bunch of anime avatars. Not that I don't have a ton of anime avatars that follow me, but like, we're like, oh, you said you'd be here in 20 minutes. You're not here in 20 minutes. You're not here in 20 minutes. Where are you in 20 minutes? 20 minutes, 20 minutes. It's like, okay, if I was really a dick, if I really was, like, I would just flag, I would be telling people to flag you down off Twitch.
Mhm.
But I'm not, like somebody's going to get sick of it.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. I don't care, but somebody's going to get sick of it and it's going to cost their platform. And then what? You
Yeah.
own somebody, you got some sweet Twitter ratios. Now you
Yeah.
got to go back to work. You work a job.
Mhm. Mhm. I agree. Yeah, I just also like I know there are a lot of young people in her audience, impressionable people, and
Obviously, yeah.
yeah, and so I just hate to see somebody kind of going down this path of well, she's just inconsistent on her morals, and I just don't understand it. Like
Maybe that's young. Are they young? I don't. Maybe that's just a youth
I think
thing.
she's
I assume
in
they're very young.
late 20s. So I mean, it makes no sense that she's
Oh,
super
that's no
upset about
excuse.
the
That's super.
implication that
Yeah.
she's a groomer, and then is saying that I'm being a baby for being upset or concerned about the implication that I'm a neo-Nazi online.
Oh yeah, I
You
know.
know, so
Well, that's the thing with
yeah.
like, so this video, for example, right? So here's the, allow me to sympathy farm here, but like, what am I like? If you were me and you had a 1.2 million subscribers, right?
Mhm,
And somebody who is a ultra protected class
mhm,
online
mhm,
put out a video making like heinous lies about you.
yeah,
Like, what am I supposed to do? Sue them? I'm not going to do that.
yeah,
Flag the video down? Can't do that.
yeah,
So I just have to sit there and take it, and it sucks.
yeah,
Like, I just have to wait for them to make a mistake against somebody who's like more protected than they are. And
yeah,
then because there are many videos that are like TOS breaking, weeks of streams that are TOS breaking.
yeah,
I don't want them to get deplatformed. I just want them to like, realize, you're playing with fire here. That the trans shield doesn't
yeah,
work for everything.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, it's just it's interesting, and I'm not trying to like I hate like I don't like to bring any of like status cards out or whatever, right? But it's just absolutely like phenomenally ridiculous to even imply that I'm a Nazi. Like I just feel like I
Wait,
feel like
wait, wait, wait. I have a screenshot of you saying that you are the leader of the white race.
okay, well that
Like
was a
I have
joke.
it
That was
archived.
a joke. Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no, you aren't. Remember? See, I made a joke. I made a joke about how a woke leftist being stunning and brave for saying fuck Hitler, and it's followed me around for 3 years.
Uh,
Like
okay.
there's
I have to
I'm
be
sure you've seen the
more careful.
screenshot, right?
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it actually, so
So there's
yeah.
a screenshot of, I forget exactly, someone in chat probably knows. So somebody in like Hollywood was like, "Yeah, fuck Hitler." So my joke was like, "Ooh, wow, bold move for a Hollywood director."
Yeah.
And like, so I said something like, I think I was like, "Oh, is this director another like virtue signaling, whatever, whatever?" And then I pull up their Twitter feed, and there it is. So I quote tweet it, and I'm like, there you have it, like stunning and brave. And then for 2 years now, people on the left have said, "Well, you defended Hitler."
Yeah.
In no world was I defending Hitler, you idiots. But for years, it's followed me around. It's so weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, well, I guess I have to be more careful online. I'm
I'm just
still
saying,
relatively
like,
new, so
be careful, uh, because it's people are weird. There's, it's people don't care about context, and especially when everything is about winning.
mhm,
It's not about being right.
mhm,
And that's why I don't quote unquote debate.
mhm,
I mean, there was a YouTuber who for days and days and days was begging me to master debate them on the stream, right?
mhm.
And I know I've just been around, I'm too old. I know what's gonna happen. So uh I'm like, okay, fine, you can come on my stream, right? 30 seconds in, he shared the link with Keffals and they were in the stream.
Mm.
And I was like, dude, you begged me for a week to
Yeah.
quote unquote debate you. And then 2 minutes in, I was letting him talk too, I was letting him say his bit. And then he does that. And I'm like, dude, see, I don't have any faith in leftists who say they want to debate because this is what you do. Sam Cedar and Ethan Klein did it on the world stage. Like, okay, I get it. If you hate Crowder, whatever, you thought it was an epic own, but like, I think it's an incredible self own. It's like saying, oh, I have no intention of actually, engaging with you in a good faith manner. I'm just here for the epic tweet likes and retweets. And
By the
I
way,
just
thank
think,
you for the super chat. Really appreciate that. So
oh yeah, of course. Um, you know. But you know, it was just I've been doing this for so long that I've become so jaded to people that are like, at least with a guy like Destiny, I know what I'm gonna get.
Mhm.
Um, but there's this new wave of leftists or debate me bros. I don't want to name names, but you know who I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Um, who seems so intellectually dishonest
Mhm.
that I just feel like I don't I'm too old for this. I don't want to spend all night screaming with somebody on Discord. There's plenty of young guys that would want, or girls would want to do that.
Mhm.
I'm almost 40. Like I'm not arguing with some 20-year-old on Twitter. I get nothing out of that. In fact, if I slip up or I misspeak or I don't explain something well, I could end up getting deplatformed. I have literally nothing to gain.
Yeah. 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 I
It's like
agree.
if I did what Joe Biden did with the taco thing, I could get deplatformed.
What happened with the taco
Probably
thing?
not.
I haven't kept up. So
It
I know
was
that
at
happened today or something. So
yesterday, I think it was I don't have any problem with Joe Biden. She basically keeps to herself or whatever, but like she was at a Latinx days festival or something like that, and she said, "Oh, the Latino population here is as diverse as San Antonio top breakfast tacos."
oh no.
I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
That's gonna be something that's
Joe."
gonna be not
I'm
received
sure,
well.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but like I look at that and I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna get roasted. But like, obviously, she misspoke. Like, she didn't mean to call Mexicans tacos.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
like, you know, everyone's got to get their. I don't even think I tweeted about that. That was like an easy dub, and I was just like, I'm not gonna, because like I know she misspoke, and like, or it was like that Republican chick who said like something about the white race. Do you remember that? It was like a couple days ago.
Uh,
Um, it was like something about the abortion thing, and she came out and said something. She misspoke and said like instead of saying human race, she said white
oh
race, which
yeah.
I was like, oh my god, and like I would assume she misspoke. Like if Jill Biden misspoke, then she probably did. But
Yeah.
like, you know, that's such, and even that, I'm just like, no, I'm just not. I'm just too old for that. I know it's easy for likes and retweets and whatever, and that's a young person's game. I'm an old head now. Oh,
Yeah.
white life, yeah. Screeper says white life instead of right to life. So it was even
Oh.
more innocuous. The way I said
Yeah.
it was way worse. So white life instead of right to life
Yeah.
is what
Yeah.
she said. Yeah,
Yeah.
and she got obviously destroyed. You know, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I guess yeah, I guess that's all I
Fair
had,
enough. Yeah,
maybe except for like I just wanted to maybe clear the air, as well as I knew Keffals was going to be watching, and so I don't want her to see me not like I am still going to like when it comes to like the things that I believe in, like if I think that somebody's not a groomer, I'm still going to say that they're not a
I
groomer
don't
and
feel
all of
like you've
that. Yeah.
conceded anything.
Yeah. So I also wanted to ask, somebody had a really good question. Are you still upset about She-Ra's boobs?
Deeply.
Really?
Every night, yeah, every night. Like so, I've bought a body pillow, and then I've put one of my wife's bras on it, and I sleep with it every night, just because it makes things better for me. Uh, I'm
Yeah.
very fragile.
That's really rough. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you
It's
overcome
haunted
soon.
me. It's
Yeah.
haunting me every day. It's difficult, but
Mm.
I'll get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for the conversation. And
Sure. Thanks for
really
having me
appreciate.
on.
Yeah. Have a good one.
All
Great
right.
night.
Have a
Yeah.
good one. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Um, that was fun. Okay. So yeah, no, I just figured like it's true that the Catboy Ranch thing was always dubious, and it's always, yeah, the Catboy Ranch thing was always dubious, so I just figured I would clarify that for him. She's not a groomer, she's not, anything like that. So And I don't think it's right for him to misgender her at all. So I wanted to make that clear as well. You can call me all the names you want, whatever you want. I stick to my morals, I think, pretty well, as much as I can. So yeah, no, I did think, and thank you again, Quartering, for donating. I really appreciate that. Also, yeah, if you call her a P word, if you call her a Grimmer, you will get banned from my chat.